Mic check 1 2. It's the Y2K Collector, and I am back. So I kind of wanted to make a quick video today talking about how to effectively quit collecting in a way that doesn't make you feel like you've given up too much, or you sold too fast, or you made a rush decision. Now, there are three things that I think you kind of really need to do this effectively, to where you're not having any type of regret or remorse, but you're still able to achieve the goal, right? And everybody has their own goals that they're going to set, which is going to lead me into like the three things that I think you need to keep in mind when you're doing this. And the goal is the first thing. You need to have a goal. My personal goal is that I have some major life events coming up this year. I've also had some major life events already happen since the beginning of the year, which has put me in a place where I'm ready to kind of downsize and not necessarily go, the full minimalism. Like, I'm not going to live this minimalistic lifestyle where I only have like one roll of toilet paper in the house and one apple and one bottle of water in the fridge. I'm not going that bare bones. But I do think that I've just got way too much stuff. And so I do have a goal. The first goal is to only keep 100 games out of my current collection, right? And I've definitely got hundreds of games, but my goal is going to be to only keep 100 games out of all the games in my collection. And then everything else is pretty much going to be sold. I've got different categories. I've got the Sega Saturn, Sega CD. I've got my PlayStation stuff here. I've got Dreamcast, PS3, more Sega Saturn imports, PS2, 360. I've got the Vita down there and a bunch of like the mini consoles. A lot of these things I'm ready to move off of. Oh, I forgot. Sorry. I've also got some consoles here, DS stuff down here. A lot of this you've already seen, so I'm not going to waste a lot of time here. But I think you need to have a goal. And, that's really the first place to start. So for me, my goal is to only have about 100 games. And my goal is really to have everything really be able to fit on just one bookshelf. I really only want to have one bookshelf of games. I don't want to have multiple shelves. I've got multiple shelves right now. I've got some retro stuff in that corner, other stuff in this corner. And it's not just video games that I'm actually getting rid of. I'm also getting rid of a bunch of clothes. I'm also getting rid of a bunch of like equipment that I don't use. I used to have a ton of camera gear. I'm getting rid of the camera gear that I don't use. And that's kind of where I think I'm starting in terms of setting my goal. I think the second thing that you need to have to really effectively quit collecting and go like more of a minimalistic approach is you need to have something healthy to replace the hobby with, right? Because collecting is a hobby, buying video games is a hobby, keeping them is a hobby, all that stuff is a hobby. So you really want to have something healthy that you can replace that hobby with. And for me, I already have a few hobbies in place that I'm probably just going to be dedicating more time to. One of which is obviously going to the gym. You all know that I'm on this, goal to lose 30 to 35 pounds. I'm already 17 to 18 pounds in. So for me, I've got about another, what am I at? Someone help me with the math. 18 pounds to go, right? Basic math. So the gym is going to be one of the things that I replace the hobby with. Another thing that I'm going to be replacing the hobby with is going to be the shooting range. So I haven't shown this on this channel. I've never told anyone this on this channel, but I do have a small collection of firearms. I've always been into firearms ever since I was in college. I used to go to ranges when I used to live in the Midwest. We used to go to the range and shoot, and just, kind of target practice. I think I went hunting once. So that's going to be the other thing that I get into, which I'll probably showcase on the channel, my trips to the shooting range. So that's going to be something else that I get into. The other thing that I plan on dedicating more time to is home projects. For some of you, you know that I renovated one of the units in my home. I was using it as an Airbnb, And so I'm going to be dedicating more time into just renovating other parts of my house and getting them up to snuff. Like I said, I've got a few major life events coming up, so it's really forcing me to kind of just change and make some changes and rethink some things. And so that's definitely where I plan on redirecting a lot of the energy that and time that I used to put into collecting. So you're going to see that happen there. I think the last thing is really just your exit strategy. For me, I've spent a lot of time thinking about my exit strategy, how I plan on exiting the collecting game, and the different things that I plan on doing. I've gotten a lot of advice because I've been talking about this on my channel for some time. And a lot of the comments that I've got have been, don't rush, don't make decisions or choices that you'll regret. Think hard about what you're doing, think hard about what you're selling, and just, be mindful of that. And I think that, that's very true. Especially when you're thinking about your exit strategy. How do you plan on selling your games? How do you plan on getting rid of your games? And I know sometimes people, when they're in an emotional state, a heightened emotional state, they will take drastic measures and, go to their nearest game store or go to their nearest GameStop and just decide to sell everything for pennies on the dollar. I don't plan on doing that because I just think overall that would be foolish. I know that I have a lot of high-priced items in my collection, so it only makes sense for me to either A, find a good home for some of these games, or B, take them to someone who's going to give me the highest return on what I paid for some of these games. Now, luckily, a lot of these games I bought underpriced. So my expectation is that even if I have to sell them at a discounted rate, is hopefully I'll be able to break even on a lot of this stuff. But if not, it's okay. The mental release and the space and just the freedom that I'll feel mentally and emotionally will more than pay or more than make up the difference from what I won't get monetarily. So what I plan on doing for the next couple months is I plan on just having a few of these videos where I probably pick out 5 to 10 of the games that I'm going to be keeping ultimately. Because like I said, I don't want to sell all of my games. I do plan on keeping at least 100 of the games that I have in my current collection. So a lot of these games are going to go though, because as you can see, there are well more than 100 games here. So I have to be very, what's the word I'm thinking here? Concentrated, I guess, or I have to be very thoughtful, I guess, or intentional. That's the word. I need to be very intentional about the things that I'm going to be keeping. So I'm going to start the series off here, and this is going to be more off the cuff. I feel like my subscribers like these videos more than the ones that I put hours and hours and hours into. It's crazy. It's so funny, but I guess that's just the nature of YouTube. But anyway, I'm going to be kind of showcasing just some of the games that I plan on keeping in the collection. And I'm going to start off with the Sega Saturn games that I'll be keeping in the collection. And I'll start off with these 5. So I definitely plan on keeping Batman Arcade. This is a very fun game on the Saturn. This will probably be part of the 100 that stays. Burning Rangers and Guardian Heroes will also stay in my collection. So those are not going to go anywhere. Let's see, 3 Dirty Dwarves I'm thinking I will sell, so that's gonna get sold. A very pretty Sega Saturn game, I'm torn on this one, but I'm thinking Astal will also be sold. That's one of the Sega Saturn games I really appreciate. Herc's Adventures, I think I will be selling this one as well. Potentially, I'm not sure. I'm actually going to set this one to the side because I do dig Herc's Adventures. X-Men, Children of the Atom. Geez, it hurts to sell this one because I actually played this game a ton. I used to, when I was a kid, don't laugh at me, but I used to play the clarinet in a band. And every Saturday morning, I would have to drive up to Westchester County. This was back in the day when I used to live in the Bronx. And, I used to drive up to Westchester County to play the clarinet, and there was a little store that used to have this X-Men arcade, and this is actually where I learned how to actually do combos. And then I transitioned from this game to X-Men versus Street Fighter, got a little bit better, but I really didn't get like my full-on, like I didn't really learn how to get nice in fighting games until Marvel versus Capcom, the first one. But that one may have to go. I may have to let that go. It hurts. And that's the other thing about selling. That's the other thing about downsizing, is that it's going to hurt. Like it's going to hurt when you get rid of these games and when you see them leave your collection, but sometimes they got to go. Robo Alesti is definitely staying in the collection. Not going to be selling that one. That's one of the few Sega CD games that I really love. And also Android Assault, that will also be staying. A couple other Sega CD games will be The Terminator and Lords of Thunder. So these are the Sega CD and Sega Saturn games that are going to be staying. I think the rest of these, though, are going to have to go. So I'll go through with you here the Sega CD and Sega Saturn stuff that is going to be saying goodbye in the collection. And again, it's going to hurt. Selling stuff hurts. Getting rid of stuff hurts. But you got to do it sometimes. So Dark Savior. This is one that I'll be selling. Not going to be keeping this one in the collection. This was a fun game, a little isometric adventure RPG game. That's going to be gone in the collection. House of the Dead. I think I'd already mentioned that I was going to be selling this. X-Men, we just talked about that one. That one's getting out of here. Astal's getting out of here. Three Dirty Dwarves is getting out of here. What else do we have? We have this is our RPG on the Sega CD. Super good condition. I think it has a registration card and everything. Very good condition game. This is going to get sold. And then Lunar Eternal Blue. Very interesting game. I played this for a little bit when I first got it, and I could see how this just was like wowed. I could just see how this wowed someone back in the 90s. Just all the detail in this game, the animations. Very, very sick game. Very sick game. But yeah, so these are definitely going to have to go. And I've wasted already how many slots have I wasted? So I've already wasted 8 slots. 8 out of the 100 slots have been wasted on these 8 games. These are going to be staying in the collection. So these 4 Sega CD games and these 4 Sega Saturn games are going to stay. So I'll be doing more videos like this, just showing you what's going to stay in the collection. So far, we've already broken down my North American Sega CD and Sega Saturn collection. I'll be doing a video for what's going to be staying in my North American PlayStation 1 collection, as well as my Dreamcast collection, and then we'll go over into my import Sega Saturn collection. But like I said, just a lot of life changes, you know, and change isn't always a bad thing. It's a good thing, and it doesn't always have to be all or nothing. You can still keep some of the things that you really enjoy, but just get rid of the fluff. If eventually it gets to a place where it's all gone, then hey, that will be what it will be. But I do think that there are some things that I want to share with my children from my childhood, from back in the 90s, especially once we get over here. I mean, it'll get real interesting once we start getting over here, because geez, I don't know how I'm going to be able to decide what to sell from this, because I've got such strong attachment to this portion of my collection. Geez, that's going to be tough. But anyway, that does it for me. If you stuck around this long, great. Thank you. I want to announce 2 things. I have an official Instagram page. So if you want to reach out to me, if you want to DM me, you can reach out to me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is the y2kcollector.yt. That's y2kcollector.yt, and that's where I'm at on Instagram. You can DM me there if you're interested in anything you see on the channel. If you want to work out a deal, if you're local, or whatever the case may be. But that is another way that you can contact me, and I will also be posting there as well, just some of the games that I've gotten that I'm getting rid of. So that does it for me. I'm the Y2K Collector. It's Monday. It's going to be all about productivity this week. Let me know what you're keeping, what you're selling, if you see anything that brings any nostalgia to you in these videos, and I will catch you in the next video. Take it easy.